Hello, lovely people. New adventure unlocked. I'm headed to the next game. My mama's here. We're going to Aqua Zumba. I am getting out of my comfort zone. I am trying fencing today. Da, 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 da. I'm just there for the vibes. I know nothing about baseball. I'm there for the vibes. Hello, lovely people. Listen, I'm going to get right down to it because I am sick. I was in denial at first, but I am sick, okay? I'm trying to catch up on the show. Today, I'm going to review episode 4 because tonight they're showing episode 7. So I've got 4, 5, 6. I'm really trying to catch up. I crawled out of the couch to come and review this show because I am trying to be consistent because I really do like the show. So if I sound hoarse, I apologize, but I'm sick. But this was such a really good episode. I'm like, oh my God, I need to come and talk to y'all about it. So remember episode 3, we see Naomi walks in. Naomi is clearly drunk. She's like, I know y'all not talking to her. No, Naomi, your girls got your back, okay? They have been reading that white lady for filth, okay? Let me sit back a little bit so y'all won't see my sick eyes. Anyway, so no, Naomi, they've been reading this chick for filth. So it's a whole commotion. Everybody's looking at him. Myron, I forgot the armor bearer's name in my previous review, but Myron is just looking at her like, you sad of a mess. And so Naomi sits down after a big commotion. It takes forever to even get her to sit down, okay? She sits down and she starts hitting on Javon. She's like, Now I will say, Portia Coleman, that's her name, she plays a really good drunk person because she was very believable. Usually this show, the acting is terrible, but I believed Portia in this one. She's like, oh, who is he? And Javon is like, hi, I'm Javon. And she's like, hi, I'm single. So, of course, even though, Naomi is drunk, she looks at Tiffany and she's like, are you on a date? And Geneva, who is obviously bothered, Geneva is like, no, they are not. Geneva, she's not talking to you. She's talking to Tiffany. Anyway, so they're trying to get Naomi to settle down. Pastor Jefferson is looking at Rashida like, you need to get rid of her. Rashida, who is a ride or die, even though she's first lady, she's got a little hood to her, which I do like. She was like, no, she's not going anywhere. That is my friend. But Rashida turned to Naomi and said, don't make this hard for me. You don't want to make this hard for me, right? Because everybody's looking at her and Myron's like, Pastor, can we get security to escort her out? And of course, Rashida's like, nope, we will do no such thing. So she's really trying, like Rashida is trying to ride for her friend, but Naomi's not making it any better. So Naomi looks at the white lady, I don't even know her name, the new wife, and is like, oh, I like your earrings, or I love your earrings. And she's like, he gave it to me as a wedding gift. So Franklin tells her, don't engage. And the wife is like, oh, okay. So they're trying to get her to drink some coffee. Terrible mistake, which we'll talk about that later. And I do think Naomi knew what she was doing. But anyway, they're trying to get her to drink. Can I tell you how I cracked up when they gave Naomi the coffee, right? And Naomi goes, and you can hear William in the background. William is like, that's one way to drink it. I said, oh my God, William is like this. No matter the situation, William is this happy-go-lucky thing. But I had to rewind it because William was like, that's one way to drink it. Anyway, so Naomi tries to call out the pastor because Naomi is like, you got a $300,000 car outside. Isn't that, aren't you a pastor? Isn't that, Isn't that wrong considering that people are in need? Now, this is where Rashida, I want to check Naomi because at the end of the day, I'm trying to look up for you and you talking to my husband. Now, Naomi is not completely wrong. Listen, I don't care if pastors have $1 million car as long as it's coming out of your funds and not the church's funds, okay? So, basically everybody is on edge because Naomi is just cutting up to be a fool. So Jefferson's like, Rashida, get her out of here. And Rashida's like, I can't ask her to leave, right? So now they bring her coffee. Oh yeah, so they brought her coffee. She said it wasn't cold enough. She said it wasn't hot enough. She wants the whole pot. Now remember, Naomi, because first I had to rewind it and I was like, did Bridget just bring the pot because she was like, this is a fresh new pot? Or what happened? But Naomi actually said, bring me the whole pot. So I think Naomi already peeped what she was going to do. There's no way. Like, why would you ask for a whole pot? It said they're at a banquet. If anything, you would say, bring me a fresh new hot cup. Right? So I thought that was kind of weird that, they just brought the whole pot. And who uses a pot of coffee these days? Don't people use Keurig? I don't know. Maybe that's the bouginess of me talking. Whatever. Anyway, so Naomi and the wife are going back and forth because Naomi's like, oh, look at them talking and da-da-da. And I didn't get this part. I missed this, but they start laughing at Naomi because, there's an auction. They're auctioning off a 100-year-old Bible, and then Franklin is like, "Oh, we should probably give it to her. She could use it more than your mother." Now, because the wife was like, "Oh, we should get it from my mom." So they start laughing at her, which of course is taunting her, right? Like you already know she's on edge. You know what you just did to her prior. You got all her stuff confiscated, and now you're taunting her, right? But I will say, so Javon tries to ease the tension by, oh, Naomi, you're beautiful. I love to take pictures of you. I take photography, and it's showing her photography. And he's easing the tension, which Geneva, of course, does not like because he's charming. And then Tiffany's like, I see what you're trying to do. And then William is saying to Javon, thank you, right? So now they're starting to bid on the items because remember they're here for an auction because they're trying to get their church funds together to get a bigger building. So there's a painting that shows up and immediately Naomi has a reaction like, oh, what is that? What is that? So Franklin proceeds to get up, goes to the stage and is like, oh, this painting here is my ex-wife's brother. And he starts to talk about, oh, my ex-wife is a monster. My new wife, oh, stand up, baby. And the white lady's like, oh gosh. Oh, it's like, oh, she is not toxic. It's like, I mean, first of all, you look stupid. Why are you putting your business out there in front of these people, right? But he's doing this to taunt her. So then he's like, so this painting was by her drug-addicted brother who died of a heroin addict that is worth nothing, but now that he's dead, it's worth, I think he said 1.2 million, right? So he's kind of setting it up. And then he's like, oh, so I'm thinking he's about to be like, let's start the bidding at like 50K. He goes, oh, let's start the bidding at $5. So that pissed Naomi off. So of course, everybody raised their hand at little cheapo people. Then they're like, oh, $10, $50. And Franklin's like, no, stay at 10. So Tiffany, who is being a kind friend, says, I think Tiffany said 5,000, right? And they're like, oh, 5,000. Then Tiffany goes, 20,000. They're like, oh, wow. And then Franklin's like, well, no. You know what? Listen. And then why didn't nobody go up to Franklin and be like, get off the stage? But again, when you got money, you could do what you want. Now, Rashida did try because Rashida was like, Jefferson. And he's looking at him like, he's looking at Rashida like, what you want me to do? Right? So Franklin's like, you know what? How about we make the bidding at $5 million? Because of course, you know, he's trying to insult to Naomi, of course, right? So of course Tiffany's like, I ain't got that kind of money. So he's like, you know what? As a matter of fact, if you won the painting, let's make it $37.7 million. Yeah, that's how much my wife got in the divorce. So everybody's like, ooh, you know. And then then the auctioneer goes, so for $5 million. Then this fool is gonna say, oh, it's a piece of trash anyway. We can hang it in the garage. And the new wife is like, now, first of all, yes, new wife, you may not be as toxic as Naomi, but always be mindful. Let me say this to the new wives or the second wives. Always be mindful of how your husband is treating his ex-wife, because you might think, oh, he's not going to do that to me, but character is character. Okay? So she's like, oh, no, trust me. When it's your turn, he's going to do it to you. Okay? That's a message for out there. So, of course, Naomi is done. After that, she's done. She's like, you know what? I'm going to leave. You know what? I need some tea. I'll be right back. I'm feeling myself getting stuffy. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I'm so sorry, y'all. I was talking and I was just feeling like I needed something to just soothe my throat. Okay, so where was I? So, of course, now they got Naomi all riled up. Naomi's like, I need to leave. So the wife's back is turned to Naomi, and Franklin is talking to the wife. And as Naomi gets up, she takes the pot of coffee. No, she goes, you know, I'm thirsty. Takes the pot of hot, scalding coffee and dumps it on her back. Woo! I said, wait a minute. And immediately, it's like the girl started convulsing. I mean, I was like, did that just happen? Did that just happen? So it's mass chaos. Now, a couple things are happening. I had to rewind it like twice. Myron, you got a whole human being that's literally about to die of third-degree burns, right? He goes to the pastor, because you know he got a crush on the pastor, and says, are you okay? He's like, no, check on her. Now Rashida clocks it. As soon as the chaos is happening, Myron, you go to the pastor. When you got, the girl is literally on the floor, you know? So Rashida clocked it. And they're getting Naomi out of there, right? And it's just mass chaos. So they take Naomi out of there, and man, it was so many different layers in the next scene. I was like, I gotta break this down right. So of course everybody gathers in the back room, right? You've got all the players are there, right? Myron is saying to his wife, you go home, I'll take the pastor home. Rashida clocks that, right? And you notice that the pastor's always pushing Myron off. And I don't know because he's like, you're making it hot, meaning maybe something's going on and you're making it hot, or like you just annoying, right? I don't know. So Myron, and I was like, oh, I was like, his wife was there? So I had to rewind that scene, right? Geneva tells William, look, I gotta go and check on Naomi. Rashida goes, I gotta go and check on Naomi. And Pastor Franklin's like, Pastor Jefferson is like, Rashida, we have somebody that's been hurt, and you want to go check on your friend? And Rashida's like, yeah, she's my friend. So Geneva's like, nope, you go to the hospital, because she got to do her first lady duties. That's the thing about being a first lady duty. Being a first lady, you may not always like it, but you're going to have to do things that it's just politics, right? So Geneva's like, no, she might be there all night, so you and the pastor go to the hospital to check on Naomi, right? And then Javon, and then Javon goes, Geneva, I'll come with you. And Tiffany's like, well, I'll come with you, right? So Tiffany wants to be wherever Javon is. Javon wants to be wherever Geneva is, right? So, it's so many different layers going on. And then poor William, he's like, no, you go. I'll catch your Uber home. I got to relieve the nanny. And then Bridget is like, William, I'll take you home, right? So it was just kind of like, it was so many things happening in one scene. I do think it was shot brilliantly. Because that scene was supposed to tell you the dynamics of the relationship. Pastor is annoyed with Myron. Geneva is annoyed with William. Rashida is annoyed with Myron. It's so many. Like, I wish I could just draw a diagram of that scene because there's a lot happening. Anyway, so they all figure it out, right? So now you got William and Bridget in the car taking William home. And William is just optimistic and it's like, oh, it's going to work out. And that scene was just okay because Bridget was just talking about how Vaughn is immature, whatever. I didn't care. That scene was just like, it was a filler scene, so Bridget's taking William home, right? Then you've got, now this was good. I do feel like this scene kind of dragged on a little bit because you got Rashida and the pastor in the car. And the pastor's like, look, I don't like Naomi. She's ratchet. She's ghetto. And she's loud. And cut her out of your life. And Rashida, who is a ride or die, I give her this. She's like, you can't tell me who to be friends with. I'm not doing it. You can't tell me who to be friends with, right? So even though she's first lady, she's like, all you cares about is the money. Oh, and then after Franklin pulled that whole stunt, and they said, oh, it's going to be $5 million. Franklin's like, oh, Pastor, that's going to be good for the church, won't it? And Pastor's like, oh, yes, it will. And Rashida looking at him like, you old, tired, greedy self. Anyway, whatever. So Rashida's like, look, when is the last time, our family's falling apart, right? And this is where you get to know the dynamics of the family. Rashida's like, when is the last time you checked on your son? His grades are falling apart. He's hanging out with potheads, and it would be nice if you sex me other than every few months. So, clearly there's a huge issue in there, not communication, but sexual relationship as well. So, of course, Pastor is being condescending. Anything else on my husband list? So they're going back and forth. Again, I do feel like that scene dragged on a little bit longer than it needed to. Because I was just like, all right, y'all arguing back and forth. So and then you got the scene with Javon, Geneva, and Tiffany. Javon and Tiffany are talking. You can see Geneva rolling her eyes. Javon's like, hey, I can make some contacts. So he calls his colleague. They're going to look up on Naomi. And Tiffany's like, thank you so much for what you did. And Javon's like, oh, no problem at all. Then come to find out that Javon has taken some photographs of Gigi. And Tiffany's like, oh, I want to see them. Tiffany, your naive self. Like, nothing is telling Tiffany, like, why is Geneva acting like this? But Geneva is also covering up by saying, like, look, a lot has happened tonight. I don't want to do no small talk, right? So you've got 3 different car scenes going on. You got the pastor and Rashida, and the pastor's basically saying to Rashida, like, you need to cut Naomi out of your life. You've got William and Bridget, and William is like, oh, Geneva's my soulmate. I'm so excited we're going to Italy. And Bridget's like, I love the way you treat my friend. Well, how about the way your friend is treating him? Okay. Then you've got Javon, Tiffany, and Geneva, who, of course, Geneva is not being a good friend and has not told Tiffany what's up. All right. So they get to, and here's the thing. In the car scene, right? In the car scene with Rashida and the pastor, Rashida said to the pastor, I see how Myra looks at you. She's clocking it. I see how he looks at you. I don't want him around. I don't like him, right? And then pastor's like, you think every woman and every man is after me. Myron is married. And Rashida's like, and he barely paid any attention to his wife. So Rashida, her level of discernment is top notch. Like I love that, right? Okay. So now now they're at the jail. They're waiting for Naomi to get out. Geneva calls William, and I feel so bad for William because he's like, I'll wait up for you. She's like, no, don't bother. And then William tries to go down memory lane, like, oh, you look so good tonight. And looking at you, I was thinking about prom. And she's like, I gotta go. And he's like, I love you. And she just hangs up. So I'm like, dang, like Geneva she's a bitch. Geneva's a bitch. Like, I'm not even gonna, she's a bitch. Geneva's a bitch. No, I don't have any other word to describe her. Anyway, because Geneva is too busy looking over at Tiffany and Javon trying to figure out what they're doing when your husband is trying to talk to you. Anyway, so Rashida and Pastor gets to the hospital. Of course, Myron is there. And I love, when I tell y'all LaToya Luckett is killing this role, she is killing this role, killing it. So Franklin comes and Franklin takes no accountability about how you got up there, you taunted her, you disparaged her, like no accountability. Franklin is basically telling Rashida, like, you need to check your girl, right? And Rashida's like, I'm telling y'all both to stop. Y'all both are doing this. And Franklin is being so disrespectful to Rashida in front of the pastor. The pastor's not doing anything because all the pastor wants is the money. Franklin said to the pastor, Jefferson, Rashida said, get your what? Get your what? I got your bitch. Like, she said, don't let this first lady title fool you. I got your bitch. I said, oh, I like her. So what happened? So Franklin is like, I'd like to pray for your, no, Jefferson is like, I'd like to pray for your wife. Franklin's like, yeah, you can come back, but she's not welcome. What the pastor should have said is, hey, bro, I don't care if it's 5 million. I don't care if it's 10 million. You're not going to talk to my wife like that. That would have been perfect. But no, see, Jefferson is so focused on getting the money, he is willing to let his wife be disrespected. So he says to Myron, watch the first lady. And Rashida's like, watch the first lady? Oh, I need watching? And I love how Rashida just gathered her things and sat down and just, I was like, oh, she looks so fly. Oh, rewind. Pastor says to Myron, can you take the first lady home? Rashida said, we came here together. We're leaving together. He goes, Rashida, she goes, period. I had to rewind that scene again. She said, period. I said, oh, she first lady, all right. But she ain't no submissive. Anyway, so yeah. So, of course, Franklin's like, I can't give you the money unless your wife makes a better decision. Pastor's like, I understand completely. And I was like, look, I don't know nothing about burns. I'm not a nurse, but I was like, why they got her skin all exposed like that? Shouldn't it be bandaged up? I don't know. That's for y'all nurses to tell me what's up. What happened? So yeah, so of course Tyler Perry wanted us to see that, Tyler Perry wanted us to see that, she's all burnt up or whatnot. We get the point. So anyway, they go back. Oh, so he prays for the wife. They're leaving. They're back in the car. And Pastor's like, he's not giving us the money. Rashida's like, he was never going to give us the money. No way. And then Pastor's like, well, you don't know that. So here is where we end the scene. They are arguing, and the pastor gets up, walks out the car, and goes in the house. And Rashida has a strong reaction. And he's like, he didn't open the door for me. He didn't open the door for me. And then you hear the front door slam. He didn't open the door for me. And that's where we end the scene. So we got to figure out what's going on. So, y'all, that was, if I didn't say it earlier, that was episode 4. Yeah, episode 4, Line in the Sand. This episode was a 9 out of 10. I enjoyed it. I'm going to try and hurry up and edit this, put this out, watch the other one. Like I said, I'm feeling under the weather, but I feel like I'm going to go for a walk and see if I feel a little better, get a little bit of energy, and try to review the next video. I am determined to watch episode 7 tonight. Like, if I got to lay all day and watch it, I'm determined to catch up. So, catching up. All right, bye, y'all.